This is going to be a quick walk through what we call the circle garden. It's a garden that is in the middle of the circle driveway. It's a work in progress, as everything is, but here's a little area at the beginning that Alex did with moss roses. They'll be open in the morning. They're kind of closed now, with some hostas and geraniums and sedums. Looking off further, you can see a big patch of, if I can get it where I can see it, a big patch of daylilies. This is Stella d'Oro. It's Ruby Stella, which should be a reblooming daylily. Down here in front of me, we've got some nice cone flowers. This is a special new cone flower bred for its beautiful flower. That's a perennial. Irises are already done blooming, of course. And this is the gas plant. That's finished already. Over here is Alex's annual flower garden, or part of it, with alyssum at the border, and then zinnias in the middle, full of zinnias, and then this tall flower with the very small pom-pom heads is Verbena bonariensis. I don't know if you can see the yellow swallowtail butterfly hopping from plant to plant there. Let's see if I can get a little closer and see them. It's hard for me to see in the viewfinder because it's so bright out here. But there's a yellow swallowtail. And then moving around, there are going to be marigolds all over. A little red Coreopsis. That's an annual Coreopsis. Compare that to this tall yellow plant, which is about 6 feet tall, and that's actually a prairie plant, also a Coreopsis. So totally different, but it's Coreopsis tripteris, which is a perennial, hardy in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Over here, another perennial. This is a type of butterfly, a type of milkweed. It's Asclepias, which is the genus for milkweed, and this is Asclepias incarnata. Not the common milkweed, but it has a similar flower and similar, will develop pods, and the butterflies do love it. The monarchs aren't around now, but we've seen a few monarchs here and there this year. In fact, there's a monarch, I think, right down here, floating around in the Johnny Jump Ups. There he is. You should be able to see that monarch down in there. There he goes. So we're trying to have a butterfly garden. Just glancing through the garden, here's a Russian sage, a big patch of it that should have been probably tied up. Cone flowers in the background, more cone flowers. Over here, a nice patch of bachelor's buttons, mostly blue, but pretty nice looking patch. This is a pretty big garden. Again, in front of me here, some more daylilies. We've got them kind of here and there throughout the garden. And there are some perennial items, of course, in the garden that aren't in bloom yet. There's a nice Actea right there with the purple foliage. That's going to develop a big pink plume. You can just see the plume stalk starting to come out. Next to it, there's some cosmos that'll be red. Those are ones that self-seeded, doing much better than the cosmos that we grew from seed. So that can be a lesson. And of course, marigolds all over the place. This is another garden area. Really, it's my gladiola area, so we'll have a lot of cutting flowers. We keep the glads over the winter. We end up with more every year, and this year they're doing really well, as you can see. Behind them I've got the Tithonia, which again is that Mexican sunflower. See them starting to bloom. The deer ate the tops off of them, so they're going to be kind of stunted. Normally they'd be 6 feet tall, but they're going to be shorter. And then I've got a vine growing on the back of the fence. It's a brown-eyed Susan vine, and I don't know if we can see the flower. I can find it here in my viewfinder. Following up. I have to back up and see the flower. It's on the other side of the fence actually, but they'll have a little yellowish flower, very pretty, and I'll probably put something up next month or so when we have more flowers here. This is what we call the oval garden because it's in the shape of an oval, and that's the way we can identify it. It's a lot of irises that have bloomed already, some perennials in the back, Agastache, which is anise-like plant, another of the tall Coreopsis, and then in the front and middle Alex has annuals, starting with a border of alyssum, and then the red Coreopsis, marigolds in the middle, and then behind the marigolds a nice patch of a red salvia, and then behind the red salvia zinnias going forward and back with some tall marigolds that haven't come into bloom yet. This little figure came from my uncle's place in New York, where he had it for many, many years, and my mother gave it to me when we moved things out of his house after he passed away. And I'll get the pictures of the morning glories in the morning when they're open, but they're on the fence here and over here. And I'll get the dahlias tomorrow in the sun too. Well, good morning. It's now a bright, beautiful morning, and the morning glories are open. So here's the morning glories on our garage. Got two great big areas of them here, and then another one over here. These are a little further behind, and they're going to include heavenly blue once they start to open, which will hopefully be in a couple weeks. I'm back videotaping again. It's a few days later actually, and back at the morning glories one more time, and then this garden that you already saw right in front here, looking pretty nice. And walking around, you can just see the dahlias in the back up against the garage. They're starting to bloom. And then we'll go over and look at the new garden along the side of our fence. This is actually the view from our front door. You can see one of my big burn piles in the back. We burn brush here. And then going over to the right, this is the new garden along the fence. And it starts here by the gate. This is our little gate. And Alex did this little design here with a bird bath, and then caladium plants in pots, and a little spiral around another bird bath. And then this is the flower garden portion itself. 4 o'clock, so they'll be in bloom later in the afternoon. On the front, alyssum, white in the middle and purple on the ends. And then you've got salvia, red salvia in the middle with marigolds in front and tall yellow marigolds in the back. And you've got zinnias on both sides, and on the far end a couple of sunflower plants. We're out in the cat yard now, the yard where the cats get to go. It's all fenced so they can run around, and this is really our oasis, our little park in the woods. And right now I'm just up on the deck, and Alex has got a lot of plants that he's planted on the deck, begonias, geraniums, all sorts of different plants here that are just deck plants. And then I'll just give the view looking out. Here's the chicken area. We put shade cloth on top of it and open up the side for the summer. In the winter the plastic goes down, so they have a snow-free area that they can come out of their coop even in the winter. And then you can look out over our little park area here, which we just love. So this is our big hydrangea tree. It's just starting to come into bloom. We have some grass, but it's really broken up into areas, and I'll walk around just a little bit to show you a little more closely what we have. We just love to come out and sit here. We have a bench here, a bench up in the back, and a bench up on the hill. Right along the front of the deck is some ornamentals, but also the herb garden. There's rosemary, sage, dill, that's basil, fennel on the end. This is our moonflower vine, which hopefully will bloom yet this season. It should. This vine on the fence here is, we believe, we call it a climbing violet vine, but it's a relative of morning glory, as you can see. Really small flowers, but pretty neat little vine. And then we have sort of a part shade area along here where we have astilbes and shade grass. This is hosta. That one happens to be Liberty. Now this year we put the elephant ears in the backyard. In the previous years they were always around the pool, but it was just too sunny for them. They like more of a part shade area. So we have potted elephant ears all around that overwinter in the shop building with the koi. These are phlox, and again in the background some astilbe, some hostas. This area in here is sunny enough for daylilies, but shady enough for ferns and hostas, so we have a really nice mix here. We have removed trees kind of regularly. In fact, this stump right here is the remainder of a cherry tree choke cherry tree that we just removed this spring. And our tree felling man was able to make it fall not in the direction it was leaning, but out toward me so that it didn't hit any trees or anything else. And then the last thing I'll show you here is what is going to be a waterfall and a pond, and that's my big project, and that's right here. Back up a little bit. So this is sort of the area. We had a pond and a waterfall here years ago, and over the years it got clogged up and started leaking, so last year I dug it out, and this year I'm rebuilding it. So you can see we have a big sort of pit here right now, kind of kidney shaped, and then the waterfall will have a couple of levels going up to the top here. And we showed you the rocks that we bought at the rock quarry before. We actually also already had a lot of rocks from the previous pond, so I've got piles of rocks here and there already. And then the new rocks that we just got at the Landscape Supply are over here. I put in a new gate right here so that I could get the rocks close by. And this, our property line, is actually back here where you can see these tall straight posts. There's one and there's another one. That's also fenced in a way that cats can't get out, so it's sort of a secondary way to stop them if they get out of the first fence. And I put this other gate in back here so that I can get the truck into the back section. And this is fenced with deer fence all the way around, so 10 feet high, and then woven wire like this inside so cats can't get out. One more thing you might notice is the trees have aluminum metal around them and fastened with that metallic tape on pretty much all the trees out here. And that's because Mother's cat, when he first came, first thing he decided to do was start running up and down the trees. So we just girdled them all with this so that he can't do that. There's one of our lawn ornaments, a big bird of some kind. I don't know if it's a heron or what it is, but anyway, that's our backyard. We love it, and we wish you could all come and visit. This is the view from where we sit, one of the places we sit, looking back toward the house. So it's really a nice place to come and just sit and hang out. Hope you enjoyed it. Happy gardening and stay safe. On the way out, we'll just say hi to the chickens. There's Ben the rooster. Hi, Ben. Hi, Ben. And then over there is one of the hens. Mickey sent us over, or delivered us 3 hens. There's another one of the hens over here. Hi, hen. And the other one is either laying an egg or out back somewhere. And they have their own chicken area, which is separately fenced. They have their own chicken area, which is separately fenced, but they also get to come out in the yard almost every afternoon or evening when Alex and I are sitting out here having a glass of wine. I thought on the way into the house I would just stop and do one little shot of the pool area. I think most of you probably remember it from various visits. This year we have some cannas in pots around the pool. They do much better in the sun than the Elevaneers did. And then in the shady area here, this is the back deck and the stairway up to the screen porch and the back deck. And over here, this is the north side of the house. This is where the bulk of the caladiums are in the front, along with hostas on the back, in the back. And then hostas up in the corner. So, ending once more, stay safe, happy gardening.